This episode of Podcast Portugal is brought to you by expatsportugal.com, your trusted online community for everything related to moving to, living in, or investing in Portugal. What really sets Expats Portugal apart is its welcoming, knowledgeable community. Whether you're just starting to explore the idea of life in Portugal or you're already settling in, you'll find live webinars, expert Q&As, member discounts, a vibrant forum, and friendly in-person meetups happening across the country. And just for Podcast Portugal listeners, you can get 15% off membership by using the code Podcast Portugal at checkout. That's Podcast Portugal, all one word and in caps. Visit expatsportugal.com today and start your Portugal journey with the support of people who've been there, done that, and are ready to help you do it too. This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal. Today, we travel to the island of Pico in the Açores to meet visionary chefs behind Bioma, a restaurant that in just 1 year has become a symbol of contemporary Açorean gastronomy. Rafael Avilu Melu and Franco Pinilla dropped everything to create a project rooted in tradition but driven by innovation. By working hand in hand with local fishermen, farmers, and artisans, they've built something more than a restaurant, a space where the island's identity is celebrated on every plate. Let's hear their story. Franco and Rafael, a very warm welcome to you.
Hello. Thank you.
Hey. Can you tell us about the moment you both decided just to drop everything and start Bioma? What sparked that decision?
I think it was not a single moment. I think it was a kind of a construction of moments. We've met on 2019, and since there we had a very good connection with Franco. Since I met Franco, I always talk about the islands that I live in, and since I show him on the map, I start to zoom in. And I said, I live here, in the middle of the Atlantic. And he always said that he has curiosity to watch to the islands and to come to see what it is here. And he make a big vacation through a month on 2022. And he said, hey, Rafa, I'm going to spend a week with you on the Azores on August. So let's keep it up everything. So basically he arrived. We passed an amazing week here. We have a very, very, very good week. We saw a lot of things that the island was needed. Here on Pico, we have kind of a tourist that's a little bit more of it's people that they like to spend because they like to have good accommodations. They like to have good services, and we were just seeing that the island needs something that on the concept that we've created, I would say. We didn't have any restaurant that shows the products that we have available on the Azores, basically. And when we passed through this week at the island, searching for products, enjoying a little bit, fishing, basically making everything the island had available for us, we saw that we have an amazing opportunity to create something here. We were just trying to change the work that we had. We were used to work a lot through a lot of hours.
So Franco is from where originally? From the mainland?
From Argentina. Franco is from
okay, I didn't know.
South.
I didn't realize that. Okay, I should have recognized that in the name. And you grew up and were born in Pico.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
I grew up in São Miguel. I lived in São Miguel until my 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm from Pico.
Yeah, we have a piece of land in actually overlooks the Pico Mountain on São Jorge. Yeah, one of our dreams is to build a house on that island and and to enjoy fishing. And one of my friends actually has just moved to the other island, which also has a view of Pico. I can't remember.
Faial, I think so. Yes, it is.
Yeah, Faial.
Faial,
that's right. And he's got a really nice. He actually makes fishing boats, like catamaran fishing boats, and he's building his dream boat there, and he's gonna be fishing. So I must put you guys in touch because he's got a big guest house on Fiel.
Okay,
that'd be cool. So, what? So you had this trip out together there. Franco came to visit you, and what are some of the activities you did? You were fishing or spearfishing or
We fish, we spearfish. We
nice?
was we were hunting with my friends. We were hunting on the mountain, wild goats.
Wow.
I don't know. We really make everything. We visit some wineries. We taste wine. We had very good beverages at my grandma's house. We have very good barbecues times around the islands. And it was a very significant week, and that's why, because of that week, that we have the restaurant right now.
Yeah. And but so you come from a chefing background, or you sort of got into that later on?
I've worked in are you saying chef background,
Yeah, yeah.
like
What is your background? How come you guys decided to sort of come together and thought, let's do a restaurant? What is your sort of background still?
Franco? Franco in Argentina, he was the head chef of one of the best restaurants in Buenos Aires. The
Wow.
name is Michigan.
Hmm.
Franco was working there since 2018 or something like that. So he was 7 straight years as a head chef. Then he left the restaurant he was. He opened a restaurant with a very big gastronomic group on Argentina. Um, and after this, Argentina starts to have a very bad financial situation.
Mm.
Franco doesn't see him on Argentina anymore, and he starts to think what he can do. Me in Bilbao, I had a really good time. I've spent 5 years almost working with Josian in the Museum of the Guggenheim, on the restaurant, also one of the best of the world.
Ah, okay.
But both of us, we were a little bit tired of being working 16 to 20 hours a day.
Yeah,
We didn't have days off, and at the end, it was nothing that was ours.
yeah,
And we really want to work to something that was ours, and we want to be recognizable, and all of those things.
yeah.
So
It makes
yeah,
a big difference being self-employed, but I think you have to go through that, don't you? You have to go through the work experience. You see what works, what
yes, of
doesn't
course.
work. Work in different restaurants
On
and have your journey.
on gastronomy nowadays, it's one of the things that we still have to do it. It's We have to work a lot on the first years. We have to don't look to the hours that we work, to the work that we do, and then they start to recognize our work. But at the end, it's also the same thing. If the
Yeah.
restaurant is not ours, we're going to work a lot of hours. Normally, we don't have very good schedules on the kitchen, and yes, it's a heavy job, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I mean, well, it's an interesting thing because when you think about world cuisine, you think I think Argentina already. I think about like barbecue and beef and vaca.
Yes,
When
yes,
I
yes,
think of Italy, I think of pasta and pizza and red sauce and garlic and olive oil. When I think of Greece, I think of moussaka, or not moussaka, the other one. Yeah, and it if I think about the UK cuisine, I think about fish and chips, or or
yeah, it
France,
can be, it can be.
and Spain. Each country has a very marketable identity in terms of food, especially Italy. So, and it's
Yes.
one of the things that I found out about Portugal, because I moved here and I was like, okay, what is the signature dish of Portugal? And there isn't one. There is like 365 days of signature dishes. And I found, for me, that was fantastic. But you don't, there is
I
not,
think in Portugal we have something very curious about the gastronomy, and we have one ingredient that it's one of a kind. That it's actually something that doesn't exist in Portugal. It's the codfish, right? I
yeah.
mean, we're one of the biggest consumers of codfish on the world, but we really don't have codfish on our waters. So
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. But I guess that gets to the seafaring roots. I mean, I know in the UK, the only fish that I'm generalizing a lot here, I must admit. But if you took the most popular fish in the UK, it might be pollock because people think it's
yes,
codfish. But I think codfish is probably one of the most most eaten anyway. I think because of the nature of the flesh and the size of the fillet, you know. But it's a fish that is it's I don't know now, but I know at the time it was in decline. It was facing some kind of overfishing, but I think maybe the stocks have restored themselves a little bit. Um, but
Also about the codfish, I think I've heard a kind of a history that in the Azores, a few years ago, we had codfish. So
okay, interesting, interesting. I mean, yeah, I really, I mean, I I'm always dreaming about the Azores. Actually, I'm always thinking. You know, I'm sitting here in the Alentejo at the moment, which I love. We have a farm here, and it is so hot. You know, and it's so hot today. I think it's inside my
I
house.
can believe.
It's 30 degrees inside the house right now, and I have to turn all the fans off because of the sound check. You know.
Right now, I'm on the living room watching to the sea.
Yeah.
Breathing.
Yeah, I'm always entertaining this idea to just have I'm not sure I'd actually buy a place, but maybe have a little place I could visit and maybe keep a little boat there that I could just go fishing. And you know, I love spearfishing, and that is a dream. That's going to be a future dream for sure.
When you come to Pico, you already know who.
Yeah, I'm going to come straight away, Pico for sure, and I'm going to come visit your restaurant definitely. So how would you describe the essence of Açorian cuisine? So we sort of covered, like, if you could sort of encapsulate it in a marketing thing like Italy does with pizza and pasta, how would you sort of describe Açorian cuisine?
I think it's something very resilient. Um, at least
Interesting.
most of the islands, I think Pico it's the one with the most poverty. At the beginnings, we only had rocks. We didn't have earth to grow anything here at the island. And I think all of the gastronomy and the base of the gastronomy of the Azores, it was a kind of a build on top of it, on top of poverty. So most of the most traditional dishes that we have around our islands, it's very poor food, I would say. Very tasteful, but poor food. Sober Spirit Santo, it's a kind of a boil, I would say. Um, we have all of the traditional foods that we have around the island. They're pretty much simple because we didn't have much things. But we have really different product to use. We have all of the things that we have grown here at the islands. They have a very unique taste. They have something very special. I mean, you taste the strawberry from here and the strawberry from the mainland, and you feel the difference. You
Okay.
taste the cucumber and you feel the difference. You taste the potato and you feel the difference.
Maybe it's the
So
mineral quality of the soil there. I mean, it's very rich, you
it's
know.
everything. I think it's everything. We're really on the when we were choosing the name of the restaurant. When Frank came up with the Bioma idea, it's just basically we're included on the biome of Macaronesia, and actually on this bioma we have very specific characteristics associated to growing of the products here, mainly because of the weather, the sea influence. We have a kind of a microclimate around our islands, and it's everything so special on the conditions that this will give very special characteristics to the products. And
Mm,
we
yeah.
noticed that when
Yeah.
you were.
I always try to buy Azorian beef because you know, being on the South Shores, I see the quality of the grass. You've never seen a green like it.
Yes.
It's perhaps a little bit similar to Ireland, where the green is so lush. It's so green, and the cows just look so healthy. And yeah, I think that makes a big
On the beef
difference
we
in the
always use
taste.
the whole cow.
Yeah.
Well, I have an Argentinian with me on the restaurant, right, Frank?
Hmm.
When we were opening the restaurant, we want to make something different with the beef, and we had a lucky to find our supplier, Senor Antonio. We basically have everything scheduled. When we need the new animal, he prepares everything,
Hmm.
and we only work with the certificated DOP Ram Grande. It's our
Nice.
autochthonous species of cow.
Nice, nice, and I guess, yeah, going back to that the sort of scarcity with islands, I'd imagine that islands in its history would have had times of famine, maybe, or at least times of scarcity where there was very little food, or
For
perhaps
sure, for sure.
overpopulation, or it could just be
No,
one thing that could go wrong, and you tip that balance, and people start to have no money. Well, sorry, no food. And I'm guessing maybe that's how the cuisine sort of, you just eat everything. Like you say, you eat the whole cow. So.
Everything, everything. Every time we hear a new history about some food, about something that it was prepared on the old times. It's something very interesting. For example, a few couple of weeks ago, I was on a restaurant, just I don't know, picking some weeds on the garden, and there was a guy passing through, and the guy starts to speak with me, and he will starts to speak about the roots of the conteira. Conteira, it's a very traditional plant that we normally serve on the leaf of the conteira. We serve the fresh cheese
Okay.
here at the Azores. We also use that leaf to put underneath the bread to go on the wood oven to cook. And the guy was telling to us that on the roots of that plant, they normally dehydrate it, they add water, and they ferment it to create a kind of a sourdough. So every time we hear new history, sometimes it gets really strange, sometimes it makes very sense. So yes, all of the base of the gastronomy on the Azores, it was created about poverty, and we use every single thing we can use,
Yeah,
basically.
that's fascinating. So you actually have quite a responsibility if you think about it, because I imagine many of these ideas and food concepts and the history is not written down. So you're being passed by researching and talking to the older generations. You're sort of getting the oral history of some of the food of the
Of
islands, and
course.
you're carrying that history into your restaurant and communicating it to all of your guests. That's really cool. That's a lovely concept.
And it's also something like fail or try and fail, because some of the histories that we heard, some of them doesn't make any sense, but we have to try a lot of things to make sense to the history.
Yeah, that makes that would that makes a sense. I can see that. I can see that. So like you mentioned Senor Antonio, and working closely with local producers must shape
Yes.
your menu in kind of unexpected ways. Can you share a story where the land or the sea really surprised you? Maybe it was something that you found which was rediscovered which is a bit of a favorite.
Yes, I can. On one of the one normally when we want some scientific explanations, we ask him to my uncle. He's a professor on the University of the Azores. He is a marine biologist,
Ah, okay.
and we were just catching things to decorate the restaurant. At the beginnings, we catch everything we see on the bottom of the ocean. We see we collect shells, we collect sea urchins, we collect a lot of things. And one of the things that we were collecting, we call them a kind of a fan, but it's from the ocean.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's a kind of a scallop, I would say. And we catch a really big and beautiful one. And when I showed to my uncle, he said, "You cannot catch those things," and we didn't understand why. Basically, we had a lot of animals on the ocean that cohabits with other species. So basically, on that fan, we have a very tiny lobster living inside, and this lobster cohabits with the scallops inside. So basically, they have a very good environment inside of this shell, and it's something that the ocean is always
Yeah, a
showing us
symbiosis. Yeah.
that it's something very very special.
Mm.
We have to be be careful about what we touch, about what we research, about what we how we harvest, how we eat, how we keep going with all of the species, and
Yeah.
it's something very. It's not big. I mean, when you think about a shell cohabiting with other species, but it was something that really changed my mind.
This episode is brought to you by Flow Sports and Flow Grappling, the streaming platform dedicated for fans of grappling, rugby, basketball, volleyball, swimming, cycling, and much more. If you're into Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, you'll want to head straight to Flow Grappling. They stream all the major events: IBJJF, ADCC, WNO, and the Pan Ams. And yes, even the IBJJF European Masters, where you could have watched me win gold. Tap the link in the show notes or go to podcastportugal.com to subscribe and get access to all the action. Yeah, actually, that's important. I just recently saw, I think it was a Netflix documentary about shark about a lady that swims with sharks, and she was sort of defending the reputation of sharks. And there was a kind of beautiful photography. Her husband is a underwater photographer, and
Hmm.
capsulates her swimming with one of the biggest great whites that ever been captured on film. It of course it made a lot of controversy, but she is so in tune with the animal that she was able to sort of show the animal strength and the animal. So any normal person probably diving in the water and trying to swim with a great white shark for Instagram would have been eaten. But she had this understanding, and because she's been diving with sharks from when she was a very young age. And she said, like, because the shark is the top predator, if we just demonize them and wipe them out, it really affects the whole
The chain,
chain
of course.
of the ocean. And I think from what I'm understanding of your restaurant and from the Azores is you don't just focus on one particular species like we would do perhaps in terms of cod. You're talking about bringing into your cuisine a multitude of different animals. So in fact, it's like a natural balance. You don't take too much of one thing. And I think, as an island is almost like a microcosm of the wider world. Like if you take too much of one thing, then it creates an imbalance, and
Yes,
then that
for sure.
affects other things, and an island would feel that more greatly than any other place. So it's super interesting, I think. Um, yeah, it's like not to take too much of one species, but sort of be a bit more diversified in your menu and what you take from the ocean, so you don't upset that balance.
I think one of the things that fascinates me the most about our kitchen, it's sometimes we arrive to the kitchen at 12 at 2 p.m. and we sometimes don't know, and we don't have set every plate we're going to serve,
Wow, that's great.
just because we already have some main ingredients, we already have some jokers, I would say.
Mhm.
Sorry. But we every day we can create something new, because for example, on the other day we were just giving service when it was 9:30 in the night, and Senor Antonio, the guy who sells us the Ramo Grande certificated, he arrives with 10 kilos of green beans. And I always give that example because it's something that is very present. Senor Antonio, I don't know, one time a month or something, he passed through the restaurant with something to give us. And basically, what we figured out, well, on the next 2 weeks, we have to serve green beans. So we're going to have to create a plate on green beans to serve them, because we're not to waste them.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's something very, very, very peculiar that we have on the Azores, on the islands, and we have to do with it. If we don't go with that, we're not going to be able to have a restaurant opened.
yeah. What did you create in the end with the green beans? Were they not favas? They were
We
feijão verde.
it's a little bit about your fish and chips on UK.
Yeah,
We
mushy
create
peas. Ah,
a
yeah,
deep fried fish from the farm.
yeah. Nice, nice. So, I mean, the first year is this is like you actually have your anniversary was just recently, I think, and your
Yes,
first
on
year has
28th of May.
clearly been a success. The restaurant business is super hard in terms of business and success, and obviously you would have faced a lot of challenges. What what uh, what were some of the key business challenges you felt bringing Bioma to life on Pico?
One of the big problems that we still facing time to time, it's people to work.
Ah,
It's very
yeah,
complicated. Qualified, we're not going to talk about it because it's something extremely difficult to get. But just people to work, and just people with the will to make
mm,
something good here, it's difficult.
yeah. This
I'm
is in
talking
terms
by
of
me.
waiting staff or just people helping in the kitchen or a manager or
Everything,
front of house.
everything.
Mm,
I would say that on the beginning, when I was 16, 17 years old, I have a really different mindset, and my mindset was to go out because here it was not good. I mean, I didn't. When I was 16, 17, 18, I didn't saw any future on the Azores.
Yeah.
I always said that I want to go probably to the north of the Europe to work.
Hmm.
I never saw me again to live on the islands,
Yeah.
I would say. And when I went out to Spain to work, I've spent 4 years and a half working there. I really realized that we have a very good life, very good quality life here at the islands.
Yeah.
We have an amazing product. The only thing it's not really good. Well, we're just a few thousands of people.
Mm.
We know almost everyone on the island. Um, but but basically, uh, we have to go out to see that what we have here it's good.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems of Pico is that the people stays. They don't really have the curiosity to go and to discover the world and to come back with new ideas.
Mm.
This is one of the problems that we're just facing right now. We would love to have a full team with all Açorian people because we really want to pass the concept on the Azores. And who's the best person to pass the concept on the Azores to a tourist? I think it's someone on here on the islands.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's something that we're going to build with time again. Um,
Yeah.
every week we have someone writes us. Every week we're just finding people from the Azores working outside. They start to connect us. They start to send messages to see if they can come here. But yes, one of the big problems is the people to work. We would love to have a full team on the Açorian
Yeah.
guys, but right now it's not possible.
It seems to be a common, maybe just not on the Azores. It seems to be a common problem here in Portugal. I have a friend that has like a Petisco restaurant in Lagos, and it's a wine bar. In Petisco, they sell small pizzas of things to eat, bites along with organic wines, and they just have a nightmare. Even in Lagos, which is very much a seasonal place, they can't find seasonal workers. At least also seasonal workers with like a passion for the wine and the experience, and will explain
Yes.
to the client exactly where the wines come from and the story, which I think is very important with the whole experience.
Here
Um,
at the Azures, so you can have an idea. We offer lodge to all of the workers that we have on the restaurant, and this is one of the things that if we don't offer lodge accommodation, we're
yeah,
probably not going to have a team.
yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? And I mean, is your restaurant, is it quite seasonal? Do you feel like the ups and downs of seasonal tourism, or is it pretty consistent?
For- From November to March of this past year, it was our first winter. It was kind of hard. I would
Mm.
say we serve 300 people on 5 months. Um, it's not sustainable, I would
Yeah,
say. Um, but also one of the things that we argue a lot with Franco, both of us. Franco, it's one person that has everything very strict on his mind, and he always see the light at the end of the tunnel.
good.
And Frank always said that if we want to have customers, we cannot be closed.
Yeah,
And yes, it's something true. I mean, we're not going to have a single customer on the winter if we don't open the doors. But yes, it's very hard and difficult to open our doors every day and to receive 2020 customers. So it's something that we really want to change here. We want to adapt the island to a gastronomic tourist that can travel all of the year
mm,
and use the winter to visit all of the vineyards to taste
yeah,
the wine and to have a kind of a gastronomy circle of tourism around our islands. I think Pico it's one of the best islands to produce it because of the wine. I mean, we have some of the best wines on the world, I would say, and we just have to put the food at the same level. And I think it has something that has really legs to walk, I would say, translating
yeah,
literally to the
yeah, yeah,
Portuguese.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's it seems to be very much of a common thing with the. I'm sort of thinking maybe there is some way you could develop a restaurant in the summer. a relationship with a restaurant in the Southern Hemisphere so that you can have, because I know, I would imagine from a staff, from an employee point of view, it's like they move somewhere and they work, and then they're like, oh, I don't have any work again in the winter, or not so much work. Um, it's almost like you could develop a relationship with another restaurant somewhere in the Southern Hemisphere, which is that is their main season, which is your low season, and you guys could keep swapping staff over the year.
We are. I think we already think about some of those things.
Yeah,
The problem is working on gastronomy. I've already said it. It's something strong, I would say. And our ideas about the restaurant, probably on the last couple of months, they change a little bit. Well, they always change because we're always changing. And we were just figuring it out if it was possible to be open 6 months, to be 3 months making research to develop on the new menu, and to be 3 months closed. Why? Yes, it's very hard to work on a restaurant. It's a lot of times. It's a lot of hours. We always try to have less hours on our employees, but it's something difficult to get. And with that kind of organization, it's something that we know that we have 3 months on the year to rest, to have vacations, to travel, to prepare everything. Um, and probably in a couple of years, when we have everything organized and a little bit more stabilized on the restaurant, we're going to try to make it. Um, so I think it's a very good way to live. 3 months on vacations, and
yeah,
about the swapping stuff, it's something very difficult to make two high seasons on the same year.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, yeah, I hadn't considered that. But if the mainland is anything to go to, I mean, I lived in Lagos in the Algarve for a while, and what I did notice was when I first moved there 13 years ago, like it was pretty quiet in the winter, like it was dead. Like September time, we'd have the surf to ourselves, there was no summertime surfers, and then what happened was people started to discover, oh, September is really nice. The wind drops, big swells come in, and the sun is still here. October, that rolled in. Now it's all year round. And also a
Yes,
more
it is. Yes, it is.
mature, sort of retired, sort of, I don't know what generation they're called, but they started to also visit in the wintertime because it's not so hot, but it's also pretty mild. And I think, if the mainland is starting this pattern, I think also you're going to feel that in the Azores. I've
Sure.
noticed a lot more new flights, sort of flying into the Azores. So it's especially from the USA, and you have a huge number of Portuguese or ex-Açorean um, people who have
All
sort of
over the world.
all over the world. It's incredible how much, even in Hawaii, I've seen. Um, I was speaking to a guy the other day called Kaipo Goelo, who's quite uh, famous in the surfing world. He works for the WSL, and he can trace his roots back to the Azores, which is really fascinating.
Oh, we are really tiny and big on the world, huh?
Yeah, it's interesting, really, really. Um, but I think so that you've definitely got a big future. I think the more people discover. And the trick is not to have too many people discover. You know what I mean? That's always
Yes, it is. We just have to have the right amount of people discovering
yeah,
Pico every year.
yeah. It's a
Pico
balance.
and the Acers.
It's a
Yes,
balance. It's the fish and chips
yes.
all over again. Um,
Also, one of the things that we have to be balanced and very be careful about it. It's if we want to maintain this kind of tourist here at the islands, we cannot drop and load the quality.
yeah,
This is something that scares me sometimes.
yeah, that's true. I mean, you need to have. I think it's necessary to keep the quality. You have to pay for it. I think you need to understand as a guest as well that
Of course,
if you want to have food which is very well, almost a wine, for example, that is so tended and the grape is really, really well looked after, then you have to pay for that in the output because it's the labor and the love that's got into it.
for
Um,
sure, for sure.
yeah, I mean, I think people understand that. I think I know when I go to a restaurant, if I have this, and you have a lot of face to face with that person. We're talking about staff and employees. You have a lot of face to face with that person that serves you your food. If you don't have a good interaction with that person, sometimes the wine and the food doesn't taste as good, which is super interesting. I know that I've been to a restaurant and the guy there was so passionate about the wines and had all these different samples he let us taste. And he was so passionate about the wine and what seafood that the wine went with that it enhanced the experience for us and enhanced the story of the restaurant.
I think this is one of the things that we most have on Bioma.
Mm.
We have a lot of customers telling us that we have a very good energy on the restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's just because we welcome every single customer. First, like it was our house. I mean, we were just accommodating her to have a very good experience on our restaurant. And then we let the people be very comfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
um,
Do you often have time?
I think that we only want that they start to think if they were eating at his own house with all of the comfort that we want to give to them.
Yeah. Do you often have time to come out and meet some of your guests?
We well, you didn't know, but we every single plate it's presented by me and by Franco on the table.
That's fantastic.
Every single
that's
plate.
what I'm talking about. It's that. I think that's really important. I think that makes the guest feel very special.
Yes.
Yeah, I've always thought that that's a nice idea for the chef to come out and.
We didn't want to have a traditional restaurant that we were inside of the kitchen. Everyone sees us from the outside. Oh, they're so mystic. No, we want to be with the people. We want to share what we want to share with them. We want to talk with them. We want to absorb their energy. We want to absorb what they had to tell us. And this is the best way to do it. To be on the first contact with the person on the table.
And that's another reason why you can't get too big. You don't want to lose that contact with your clientele.
For sure.
Yeah, it's super great. Well, I wish you all the best, and I'm definitely next time I go to the Azores, I'm going to pop by, and I'll probably have to phone way in advance to book.
But
unless I come in the winter.
Yes, it's better. If it's on August, try to make the reservation right now.
I won't come in August for sure. I definitely won't come in August. I like to come when it's a little bit more mellow and for sure.
Like in Lagos, just in September, right?
Yeah, exactly. or now more like January. Yeah, I mean now we live in the Alentejo now, so like I can actually go for a whole week without seeing a single person, which is pretty cool. Great.
Here it's impossible.
Wow, Rafael and Franco, so nice to speak with you both today, and
thank you, Justin.
And I look forward to meeting you, and I'm really happy. It's such a good chat today, and I really appreciate your time to tell us all about the restaurant. And I guess you guys are going to be heading into the kitchen soon. Or after lunch.
I think we have a couple of hours to make a quick dive. I think so.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, good luck.
Probably yes.
Have you ever met David Ochoa? I did a podcast with him. He's a.
You have to call him and to say them to allow us to go with him.
No, I'm going to put you guys in contact because I think there's a really nice story there, and he's a super nice guy, and he loves fishing in the Açores. He loves it. He says it's one of his favorite places to go. I'm going to put you guys in touch. I've made a note here.
Appreciate it.
No
Justin.
worries. Have a good one. Hope you catch something. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Ciao. This is Justin West from Podcast Portugal. Over and out. Ditch the plastic and the toxins. Mother's Earth dishwasher papers are made from non-toxic, eco-certified materials, so they're safer for your home, your health, your family, and the planet. No bulky plastic bottles, no waste, just clean dishes, shipped anywhere in Europe, and 3 times cheaper than those toxic tabs you buy in the supermarkets. Click the link in the show notes to start saving. Simple, secure currency transfers from once-in-a-lifetime property purchase of your dreams to everyday expenses. Currencies Direct helps you save time and money on international transfers. Rated excellent on Trustpilot with over 17,000 positive reviews. Spend like a local with their multi-currency MasterCard. Tap the link in the show notes to get started.
Stop the train, I'm getting out. Stop the train, I'm getting out. Stop the train.